when you start to compare, I think one of the biggest toxic things that we do to ourselves is that we compare ourselves to other people who may not be after the same things that we are, and then subsequently we feel bad lah. And when I couldn't make the cut, it was very demoralizing. When you start to meet people who are older, you start to realize that everyone has this divergent path, and you have your own end goals that you're moving towards, but you need to take steps towards reaching what you want, not what other people want.
Hey guys, and welcome to yet another episode of the Singaplex After Office podcast. And today we have a special guest once again, Eugene Cheng, who I've known for years, and we're going to get into his story. And Eugene has a very epic story. Basically, Eugene screwed what we call the traditional Singaporean path, and he decided not to further his degree, much to the dismay, of course, of many traditional-minded people. But he's lived to tell the tale, and he was even featured at Forbes 30 Under 30.
Yeah, I think Jonathan's probably giving me too much credit, more than I deserve until stress until spectacles. I think to the chagrin of my parents also, they weren't very happy when I decided not to go for a degree. Most people still feel that it's a natural progression towards your career. If you don't have one, you lose out. I think partially it's true, depending on what career you want to do, as well as the stats don't lie lah. But let's be real, how sustainable is it that you can promise someone sky-high salaries just based on the fact that they spend a lot of time in one place? I remember listening to a radio interview recently. They were interviewing someone from Randstad, basically helping companies hire. I remember the radio interviewer asking her, do you think that expectations are too high? She's like, it is way too high. Fresh grads are expecting too much most of the time, and they don't bring enough practical skill sets that employers can get behind. Plus, because of legacy issues. Like for example, in the organization, I already hired like 5 people, and they already paid this much. You come here, you ask for more than them. Don't make sense. Right? So along those lines, I think we have to readjust our expectations.
And then there was the viral video by a YouTuber. He shared like this video of like how much fresh graduates think they're worth. Do you think these people are joking or are they serious? Because they look pretty serious to me.
I would anticipate that they may be quite serious, depending on their job scope. I do know of developers that have gone out. Again, if you're talking about rare skill set that people need and it's in high demand, you technically can demand the sky and the moon lah. But I think what most Singaporeans don't really think about so much, and again might get some flack for this, is that because of COVID, remote working is now very common. You can get talent from a lot of places within our region that has the same time zone.
That has a less
it's a very, very
cost of living.
It's a very real, scary thing.
Risk,
that I think we're not thinking about as Singaporeans. Imagine you spend all your time and you have basically put all your eggs in one basket. I have this degree and nothing much else, and I anticipate that I will get a job after I leave school. Can they afford this inflation in salaries when the value that you bring is the same? Versus literally hiring outside our borders, which has become so much more accessible now. As much as I think our government can try to protect us as Singaporeans, right? There's a limit, they can't force employers to hire you. They can use their own entities to hire you, but there's a
there are ways around like hiring and things like that. That I think many people don't think about.
I know of friends, quite a number actually, who don't have degrees, who are doing pretty well, not just because they're a business owner, but because they work in an organization that looks for a skill that they have that is rare. These people could be product managers, UI UX designers, basically tackling careers that did not used to exist many years ago.
Before that, and only exist in the last decade or so.
For sure. I think we will see a lot more of this happen. We work with some startup clients now and then, and also with some VC, so they kind of give us a bit of a view ahead of time that these new technologies, even the whole ChatGPT AI thing, are creating brand new industries that we haven't seen before.
And
then, of course,
new roles and new jobs, right?
So if you are nimble enough, adaptable enough, and I think have the right mindset to take advantage of these things, how to go hungry? Especially when you're based here in Singapore. I've been to our neighboring countries, Indonesia, Vietnam.
In the course of your work?
Like for work and all that. Or even like Taiwan, which is not like directly near to us, right? And you'd be surprised at just when you do the comparison, the amount of support we get here, the fact that it's easy to start up a business here, to try to pursue some of the things that you have ideas about. Even if you try and it doesn't work out.
Correct.
It's also valuable experience. Yeah, and I think even when you were teaching me, I learned a lot of that from you. I just want to put that out there that you deserve all that credit. Because,
thanks, man.
Because for viewers who don't know our relationship, Jonathan actually used to be my lecturer in Ngee Ann Poly. So he used to...
8 years ago.
I remember I wasn't doing that well in school. I only did really well for your module.
Really?
I even won the book prize. I was quite shocked.
I saw the work. I was like, wow, this is so good.
And I think in most other circumstances, I would have just been relegated. Someone would have just called me out and say like, I don't think you're going to get anywhere. I remember applying for school. I was applying for SMU and all that.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a response, so I got rejected, which is quite common, right?
Yeah, correct.
And I felt really bad about it.
Okay.
I felt very bad about it. I think I applied twice. One before and one after I had run the business for a few years. But ironically, even though they didn't accept me, I got to teach at SMU after one period.
What?
So it kind of go full circle, right?
So you tried to apply to be a student at SMU, you didn't get in twice, and then now you are like a consulting lecturer sort of.
In a way. I don't teach that as often now, but previously we used to conduct courses. We still have regular runs that we do for the elective programs that they have.
Correct.
And they used to be a client also.
So
I think it's interesting that the game that you think you're supposed to play is go through school, study hard, and do all these things. But it's a different game in the game of life.
That's true.
There's no one path, and I can sidestep, and this loser here who can't perform academically can, in the end, be the person that's teaching you. I think that says something about how
the world changing.
Yeah, how it's changing, plus how we need to change our perspectives to thrive in this new world.
That's true, because the world. Today's AI, tomorrow you'll be something else.
You have to adapt, and I think it can be quite stressful for most people. I recently became a dad, so that's been quite sobering, right? Because for me, it was just like chung, just keep pushing for many years, as far as your energy can take. And when you're young, you can do it.
Yeah, correct.
But you get to a point where I'm like 29, coming 30, and so tired. Son don't want to sleep. Then later, wife also cannot sleep, then everyone cannot sleep, then you don't feel so great, and then it's hard to kind of push forward. And I think like I was sharing with you just now, when you start to compare, I think one of the biggest toxic things that we do to ourselves is that we compare ourselves to other people who may not be after the same things that we are, and then subsequently we feel bad right?
You scroll through social media.
You don't scroll, and even when we were much younger, I remember feeling really bad because, like I said, we weren't earning very much, and we would look at our peers who had already been working for 3 or 4 years, and they were out earning us, they were doing so well, and you're just asking yourself like, did I make a mistake?
Correct.
Why am I not ahead of that curve? And I think it takes a lot of time, maturity and experiences to really understand that you are playing your own game, right?
That's true.
And if you try to compare yourself to other people, you always feel bad. Similarly, other people might try to compare themselves to you, and they might also feel bad.
That's true. There's always someone apparently doing better, but we really don't know what they're going through as well, or what they had to do to get to where they are.
But to be very honest, some people have just led very golden lives. They're doing well, they're happy, and I mean, power to them. I don't envy them, because again, you have to learn to love the things that you have in your own life.
Speaking of envy, recently there's this controversy regarding the girl that she said that Charles & Keith bag was her first luxury bag, and then now she has to do a whole apology video of like that to prove that she's actually really not rich, because people are saying like she pretend to be poor and things like that. What's up with all these things, and how, speaking of this comparison thing, where do you think this actually comes from?
I will not pretend to be an expert on why people react on social the way they do. My view of it is, she's not harming anybody. Why everyone's so hung up, high-strung and uptight about it? I think people are inherently quite unhappy. You see it with some people who work in frontline work, where they have to, or in the service line, where they have to deal with a lot of difficulty every day. Maybe they have problems at home, and they want to project it out into the world so that they feel a little bit better. I mean, if you try to empathize that way, for the people who are lambasting this girl, who is obviously innocent and not really doing anything wrong. I mean, people want to sponsor her, then she just say, I don't want. I feel bad. That would seem very, very odd to me.
It's all about the hustle. No matter what anyone tells you, you do you.
Yeah, I think she's enterprising. She wants to be a creator. I think that's very respectable. And if I'm not wrong, she's not originally from here, or her parents were not from here. So she has to work doubly as hard to do better for herself. And if we are all going to react this way, we are stifling the next generation of people who can be quite enterprising. And we still complain why Singapore doesn't have enterprising people, innovative people.
You try a bit and hey, you're doing a bit better, come back.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's nice. It's kind of like a misery loves company kind of thing. If you
the crabs in the barrel.
Yeah, if you're facing some difficulties, you kind of want to be amongst other people who are also facing some difficulty. I'm sure you've seen it a lot of times.
Yes.
I remember, unrelated to this girl, there was another influencer, I think someone my wife follows on Instagram or something, and I remember she was pregnant and then she gave birth and she became very slim very quickly.
Yeah,
I forgot who she was. But people were commenting angry comments. Yeah, saying that she's setting a very unrealistic expectation for other women, making them feel bad.
Yeah, but she didn't.
She didn't. She just exercises and takes care of herself because that's her job.
Her job is to be an influencer.
Yeah, and she takes pride in how she looks like. So I mean, why do you want others to feel as bad as yourself, or just because you don't feel good, you want to project it on other people? I think it's toxic. It's so sad that we see this a lot in Singapore.
Yeah,
when we already pride ourselves as like, first world nation, we're all educated, but we don't exactly act that way at times.
Every time you go through the comments on Mothership, it's just filled with salt. It's a lot of salt.
It's quite funny to read. It's quite funny to read at times. I think we really need to focus on, I think, bigger issues, frankly. I think we have much bigger issues, things that are creeping up on us, festering without us really thinking about it. Like one of the things, like I mentioned, is the rise of outsourcing. Because you don't think about it, but years from now, maybe 2 or 3 years later, when employers start to open up to it, you realize just how little competitive advantage you have. So you have a local degree, great. But you're still going to do the Zoom call? Are you still going to work remotely? If the answer is yes, then good luck, because there are another 100, 200, thousands of talents that are hungry, willing to work for 3 times less sometimes than you, and do even better work.
That's true.
And then you just sit here and whine, right? And people do that quite a bit.
Yeah, that's true. So, interestingly enough, we've come full circle because now you are also a lecturer in Ngee Ann. Or you also do what I used to do, which is you guest lecture.
I used to adjunct a number of years back.
And
then, of course, work became a bit too busy, so I couldn't commit to new semesters. But it was a really good experience. And I start to have more appreciation for why certain lecturers were doing certain things the way they were. I think Ngee Ann is very open-minded to even let someone like me lecture.
Correct.
Someone who didn't have a degree, although I have life experiences, right? It's always been a dream. I always wanted to teach, and I always felt like, I know I have to go and get a degree and all that. I would have just wanted to do it just to be able to teach. What I've learned from teaching is, again, my takeaway is there are a lot of things that you do as a lecturer that is not teaching.
Yes, correct.
Marking papers, doing CCA.
Yeah, even as a part-time lecturer, right?
Yes, and I think that makes it difficult for you to focus on your real job, which is teaching. You don't even, I think as part-time, you may not even get paid for maybe curriculum planning and all that. So you kind of take from your module and move forward. I feel for the kids. I mean, they're not really kids. They're like 19, 18 years old. I feel, like I said, they've been given a promise that if they work hard, they can go to university and beyond. That was the path I was sold. And when I couldn't make the cut, it was very demoralizing. You kind of feel like your self-worth
like, is there something wrong?
Is there something wrong with you? And then I think the answer is not that there's something wrong with you, because when you start to meet people who are older, you start to realize that everyone has this divergent path, and you have your own end goals that you're moving towards, but you need to take steps towards reaching what you want, not what other people want. And then as you go along, I guess you really define like what's your own value that you bring, and then where that brings you in your career. Assuming that career is an important thing, but I guess in Singapore, so it is.
Correct.
And I think when you get to a point where you're comfortable with yourself, you know what you're good at, you know how to play the game with some street smarts, then you get to a much better place.
That's true. And speaking of much better places, it seems that now you manage a team of people that provide, I would say, some kind of like professional training services to clients.
Yeah, I think it's a mix. So we have 2 arms. One is the like you say, professional training, corporate. We teach soft skills, we teach persuasion, storytelling, data storytelling, a variety of different topics. And we do it for Fortune 500 companies like MasterCard. Who else do we teach? SME is also a client, although not Fortune 500. A few other bigger names like BD, for example, pharma companies, ones that you don't hear of in B2C kind of context. We also do consulting work for companies as well. So if they want to go to market, they need to support their salespeople, they want marketing and sales to align, we help with positioning, messaging, narrative so that they can go to market much quicker. So that's kind of what we're doing. I also have a video company that I co-own. It's called Motion Source. With my business partner Jaden.
The one that does motion graphics and
it was also from Ngee Ann. So Ngee Ann was a nice place that really helped us, I think, grow.
And so in the course of like now as a employer, managing younger talent, what do you see is the difference between, people always comment between millennials, Gen Z, there's differences and there's a lot of stereotypes going on. So as someone, on the ground yourself, what do you feel is what are the real issues that you feel people should actually be concerned about? And what are the generational gaps that you see in the marketplace?
Okay, so I'm a millennial. I think now it's like old news already. Now you have Gen Z, Gen Y suddenly becomes irrelevant and there's going to be another generation after that. What I found is that truthfully, at the baseline, there is no significant difference in the way that people think, in the way people want to be treated at work, and in the way people are motivated. There's a lot of alignment. I think people who try to sell you that, you have a different way of managing Gen Z and millennials, they're speaking to a very different group of people. They're speaking to the older generation who literally are quite disconnected from either generation that is past. And of course, since millennials make up a majority of the workforce now, we don't even talk about it anymore. Suddenly Gen Z is the new thing. I would say only culturally, there are some differences, certain lingo that they use. I don't even think you have to learn it. In particularly, I believe
no cap.
But particularly, I believe that if you treat people right, if you know why they're joining, what are their goals, how do you align to that, how do you build towards a progression that lets them know that they're working towards something. Humans are all the same, underlying, right? In terms of, let's say, what motivates someone at work, that is really up to individual. I won't say it's a specific generational thing. Some people are motivated by money. Some people are motivated by other intrinsic things. Some people want to prove themselves. Some people want to just stay in their little place and do something that they're passionate about. I think aligning to those archetypes is much more useful than classifying someone as like Z, Y, or some other random letter, because there is no real gigantic pronounced difference. They may be more knowledgeable on certain things, so you might hire someone purely for their in-the-know
expertise.
Especially like TikTok, because new mediums, right? I think they learn that much more quickly because it's just something they've been born into and that they use often. But technically, if you were born into it and you use often also, you also like that. It's not so much like, because you are a different generation, you're cut off a different cloth, your blood different colour, no such thing. Same thing.
That's true. Fundamentally, we are all just people living on a rock floating in space.
Bags of liquid.
Bags of liquid, right? Bags of liquid with different worries and concerns, trying to make ourselves progress in this game of life.
Yes.
Right.
Well put.
So in your experience, like when you were building the company, what were some of the things that you realized were different from your expectations of what working would be?
I feel it's okay. I guess if you say expectations, that's right, because post poly I didn't really work anywhere else. I only recently left another organization that I joined for a year and then came back. I would say for me, what I expected was that I gave a lot of people too much credit. I felt like, you're told so many things in school. People make it so official. It's as though that these things are set in stone.
Yes. Correct.
Even my friends in university, or even like when you're graduating from the polytechnics, they're like, the real world, people are all very clever, very smart, they know what they're doing. Totally wrong. Most people don't know what they're doing. They're just kind of like a bit misguided, or they're not sure, just like yourself. Right? Very normal. At the same time, most people are not that competent in a general sense. I think we've been very blessed that quite a lot of our clients are, but you will also meet some people along the way that are just very confusing. You will just meet them and you're just... Is it because you're thinking differently, or is it because they are just not really that good at what they're doing, you know.
Right.
But it's because the world is so diverse in that way.
correct.
You will meet a lot of people that don't align to what you think and align to the way that you feel working should be. So I would say, I mean, if I had to give general advice to anyone leaving school and coming to the workforce, measure and temper your expectations, because if you expect a lot from these people, you will be sorely disappointed, right? Give yourself more credit, because a lot of the things that you've learned, your unique experiences, are useful to other people.
That's true.
Yeah, I say this also from a point of, I have certain clients who sometimes I consult with on, like, let's say, content that they put out into the world, right? And they sometimes tell me, hey, Eugene, I don't think we should say this, it sounds very basic. I say it's basic to you. But to me, this bobo, I don't know anything. So it's actually quite novel.
So that's actually value for their audience on like LinkedIn or for example.
Yes, for example. So like so we put it out, for example, that particular context. And it went viral. Right? It did really, really well.
Wow.
And he was very surprised. He's like, this is so simple thing, people in my industry all know. I say, yeah, but you're not talking to people
in your,
within your
that's
industry.
not his target audience, right?
Yeah. So that's interesting, right? I mean, even really intelligent, smart people who have had a lot of life experiences, they also have their blind spots.
Right.
And I feel over time, as we begin to go into meeting more people over time, let's say when you graduate and everything, you really just have to realize that nobody knows what they're doing. It's a very comforting but also a very scary thing.
Correct. Everyone's just making it up as they go along.
It really is the case, and I think even finding meaning in what you do, that's like a discussion for another time. But I feel like with context to the discussion coming back to, do you all know what you're doing, right? You don't. Most people will kind of say, yeah, my plan, I will finish this, study hard, go get my degree, get this scholarship. Then they look like they have it all planned out. And then you kind of feel bad. You feel like, dang, compared to them, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, should have studied hard and become a scholar.
For real. And I think they set themselves there and they feel like they know how it's going to go.
Correct.
But when push comes to shove, you just realize that it doesn't work that way.
Not the case, right?
And you need to be adaptable. You need to be able to change because especially when you're in Singapore, everything is taken care of for you. You can start a business when you want. You can walk along the street and no one's going to kind of beat you up and steal your stuff, right? And
what our video guy, his friend got beat up in some country.
So
right, Shane, right.
Yeah, so because of that, what was I saying? Yes, so you take these things for granted.
Correct.
And because of that, then if you choose not to work hard, you choose to rest on your laurels. Our forefathers didn't build it this way.
So what's your view on like fresh graduates wanting like at least like 4K when they start out?
I think it depends on the role. And what you're doing. And the question is, I'm being very real.
Correct.
I also got bills to pay. I also got employees to pay. I got overheads and all that. I want my job done. I'm going to hire someone that can get the job done.
Okay.
Preferably this person is a nice person, right? So now, instead of just thinking about, okay, how can I get the best person at the best price within the region that I'm in, like the country, I have access to another 3 different places that I can find.
As in the neighboring countries.
And again, talent outsourcing now is becoming more and more common. A business owner is aware of these talents and can tap them. What's to stop them from hiring them instead of hiring you?
That's true.
So you want to earn that 4K? Fine.
Right.
I'm not here to make your life easier by purposely giving it to you. I have no agenda. I don't know you, right? So the question is, why will I hire you over these other people? Do you bring something that's special apart from just being stationed here
in Singapore?
Because I work remotely. Most of my team members work remotely. Unless I'm new in the office, technically, I don't have any other real pull factor. So that's the question I think everyone has to ask themselves and be real about it. Right? It's not that I'm trying to be an asshole and say like, I don't want to pay you more. It's not about that. This is the market. And this is the reality. Is the government going to pay my bills? No. They're not going to pay my bills. I got to pay my own bills. I need to pay taxes also. Right? You also have to pay taxes. But I think a lot of fresh grads coming out of school, right? As like I said, the mindset is just, I should demand this much because this is what my peers are getting paid and cost of living is getting higher. I understand from your perspective. But you also need to think from the employer's perspective. If you choose a place that has endless amount of more money to spend, great.
If you can get in.
That's one. Second thing is, if they haven't laid off a lot of people.
Like what's going on now, right?
So it's unsustainable, right? There's a certain level of inflation in salaries that was purely unsustainable and driven by these companies that were flooded with capital who don't have that capital anymore.
Yeah, right.
So I think we really need the market reset, and we both see that once these layoffs cannot play out. And we're already seeing that already.
So with like job instability getting increasing, what do you think are some of the things that, as speaking as a person that's lecturing now, what do you think the workforce needs to prepare for?
So I've not been lecturing for quite a while. Ever since that fateful semester that I like tired already. So stop. But if let's say from a lecturer perspective, or like just observing the students that I've had, what we need to prepare for. So a few things. Obviously, there's now more forces than before. Last time remote working already stressful enough. Now you have AI as a replacement for certain things that you would do. Basically, any basic cognitive thinking, even coding. The performance improvement is ridiculous. So even creative work is not safe after a while. I think there are certain levels of human creativity that are still relevant. So I think we need to be very real. Technical skills are useful, but if it's rote, it can be replaced very quickly. I still believe, and again, it's part of our company's ethos, which is soft skills are the most important. It's what makes you human. How you convince other people, how you persuade, how you sell, how you storytell. If you don't have those skills, and eventually when the computers come and eat up your capabilities, what else do you have going for you, right? We used to be thinking that, okay, professionals, you either have hard skills, soft skills, can already. You'll be fine. Not enough.
Not enough, right?
Not enough anymore. Like, I think we will see lesser people hired in the company. Companies become very lean. Because you will just pay the software paymasters of the world, and then they will make things happen for you. It's quite exciting if you use it on yourself, but it's also very scary. I think people are getting excited for the wrong reasons. They don't realize that this is potentially going to replace a lot of things that they're doing. I know a lot of people are saying, AI will not replace you. You can utilize it as a human being, do your work better. True, depending on what thing. Things that are logical, apple to apple, that the laws and the rules are fixed. AI is going to come for it. Which is why I think now, even looking back, the skill sets that some of the people that we look up to, I mean, you interviewed some influencers, right? We should look up to these people in certain ways. Because they've mastered...
Influencers are the future, guys.
They've mastered the human psyche. They know how to create content that builds an audience, which is not something AI is going to do in the short term. Although you can have AI influencers and all that, I don't believe it will understand humans to that extent.
Human engagement.
And I think those are things that it's not easy to replace and will stay for quite a while. Influence is always monetizable somehow. Eyeballs and audiences.
Attention.
So I think that's something that if people don't already have the skill at doing, they should spend more time working on. Because no matter what you want to do, whether you're a career seeker, whether you are a business owner, and you want more people to buy what you're selling, it never hurts to be able to bring this influence along with you, this audience, this thought leadership.
So do you think in a certain way in the future, every one of us are our own kind of like little content creators? I see that sort of happening now.
Hard to say, but I think it's becoming more prolific because it's become easier, the barriers to entry are lower. I'll give an example. Again, this is something I hear by anecdotal stories, right? So I have a staff and her sister basically sells nails. Like fake nails.
Right.
I think she makes 300, 400 a night. Selling
a night?
Nails. Yeah, pretty good. So she will just show the nails and then you can choose the type of nails that you want, then she'll try it to let you see. And people from the Philippines or some other country will buy directly. There's a catalog within TikTok. It's quite ridiculous.
The TikTok shopping function, right?
Yes. And there's a new function that's coming out that I hear. Even if you don't have the product, they can send you one sample and you sell it, right? You can basically sell it in a drop shipping like fashion.
Really?
So even if you don't have the capital to buy product and keep stock,
correct.
you can earn a commission from selling the product at scale, one to many. I think it's really amazing. And I think it's going to really change the face of what we think about live streaming, selling, and generally how tech revolutionizes commerce in that sense, right? So I think as these things evolve and change, we can't be stuck in our little bubble doing things the old way that we used to do. We have to be open to trying out at least some of it, rather than just be fearful of No, it's not for me.
Given the fact that like your learning is that some things in life are not by choice, right? If you were starting out today again, what are some of the words of comfort you tell yourself to get through all the hurdles to reach the next level or where you want to be?
Wow, the question's not so deep.
yeah.
I would think the first one is there's no wrong door. I think I said that before, because especially Singaporean and Asian, you always doubt yourself. Always. It's like, even if you know that this is probably the right thing, right, you also doubt yourself. You're scared about what other people will think, and I think you really need to not give a shit. Yeah. People don't know any better than you, and you know, everyone also a bit loser, including yourself. So since everybody loser, they don't care lah.
Everyone has their own internal loser inferiority complex, right?
It is.
Yeah, because I've talked to some really rich people and they still feel like they're losing.
Really, because they're looking up.
I'm like, what? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think just do you. That would be one advice, which is just, even if you think that it might implode, at least give it a go.
Yeah, that's true.
And worst case, I mean, you don't die. It's not like you skydive. Then
as long as you're alive and you have a pulse, you can keep going.
Yeah, keep going. I think another one is there's always how would I say this? There are some things that money cannot buy back. You can keep working, you can keep earning the money, but you cannot have certain things anymore.
Health
is one thing. Which is why I still try to exercise regularly, try to sleep enough. Family time. Again, it's very cliche. It's just now that you have a family yourself, for myself, then you start to really feel it. You start to feel that all these moments are so fleeting. Close eye, open eye, suddenly next day, tomorrow my son 21 already. It's something I hear a lot. And I think we need to heed certain pieces of advice that we hear recurring very often from people who are older than us.
Way older, right?
Yeah, because it's easy if you're younger to like, dude, okay, boomer, like, stop talking to me because you're giving me bad advice. But there's no smoke without fire. There's certain pieces of advice that is relevant, and of course, try to speak to people that quite widespread, right? Words can be very damaging. Labels can be very injuring to your feelings. I think, like I said, don't let that define yourself. You need to kind of know where your values lie. I would say define those up front so that you can never be shaken. Your conviction can never be broken. Because people will come and they will say you are something. And then if you believe them and you always like easy, right, then you will feel them shit all the time.
That's true.
Yeah, but if you kind of know who you are, you know what you stand for and what you don't stand for, think surrounding yourself with the right group of people that want you to succeed is so important. Want friends who support you in your dreams and things that you want to do. I know of friends who have struggled to quit their careers because they were so worried about what other people would think. Family, friends. And I remember one particular friend who's a very good friend of mine, he told me that he made a list. Like one of his friends told him to make a list of people that would not agree with his choice and another group that would agree with his choice. So he found that the people that would disagree with his choice are people that he couldn't really care less for. His colleagues, you know, like you work in the bank, you're getting paid like truckloads of money. So your colleagues will be like, hey, why would you want to do that? You know, kind of thing, like you're doing so well here. And he realized that he didn't really care what they thought. For the people that he did care about, his close friends and family, they would definitely support any decision that he makes. So then that is like the barometer, right? How long are you going to wait before you live for yourself? Yeah, I think ask yourself like, the actions that you're taking today, is it for you? Is it for your girlfriend, boyfriend? Is it for your family? And are you happy making those decisions? And if the answer is no, I think even like yourself, you did mention to me that, you know, in your life you make certain decisions that are different from what most other people do because you know yourself that that's what you want to do. Yeah, takes a lot of guts, conviction, and just being able to go against that grain. Because it's very easy to just follow what everyone is doing. Then no one can say, Chinese New Year, no, a bit, hey, what are you doing? Kind of thing. Then you get feel stressed.
No Rolex.
Yeah. So I think it's good to know that yourself early.
Right.
I know most people can never get past it because I won't understand. They probably have a lot more familial challenges. Yeah, but the faster you can get past it, the happier you'll be, I feel.
That's true. Anyway, the real people with lots of Rolexes keep it in the safe and they don't flaunt it.
They do flaunt it.
They do flaunt it. Clearly, I don't know what I'm talking about because I have zero Rolexes. What would you like reassure yourself to know that despite whatever challenges whether past or future, everything is going to be okay? Because that's kind of like what everyone's worried about these days, right? You read comments, there's a lot of fear. You read all the news, it's all the fear porn everywhere, right? So in this era of a lot of fear, but we have concluded during our conversation that there's also a lot of opportunity.
There is, but I'm very hesitant to give blanket advice to other people because we don't know their situation.
That's true.
Right? For myself, because obviously I've gone through some hardship and I've learned certain skills that would help me bounce back if I really face some terrible issue, probably more quickly than someone who hasn't gone through the same experiences. So I think the advice I give to myself will be quite different. For myself, probably I would say, cannot do again, you know. You can, and you'll probably be better the second time. So don't feel so bad. And if you really do feel bad, then go watch some Netflix. No, really. Like sometimes it just perks you. Watch something interesting, and you just need some time away. I remember again. This is I don't mind sharing this publicly, but when the whole FTX Luna thing, I actually lost quite a bit of money.
Oh, the price.
But I'm still fine. It's just that it wasn't a good feeling. I felt really bad. I remember going home and I was like super borderline depressed for a while. I mean, to me, depressed is just sit there like, I'm so hurt. Then I'll tell my wife like, I'm feeling very bad. Then she's like, okay. Then I said, I'll be better in 2 days. Then 2 days came and I was still like, oh. Then you know what she did? She's like, so why haven't you gotten over it? I'm like, I lost a lot of money. Then she's like, but you still got money, right? Then I said, yes. Then she walked over. She go and watch Netflix. Then I'm just like, hey, like I'm here, I need some comfort and I'm very sad. She's like, you say you'll be okay 2 days later, but you still act like a baby and then you better stop it. Then she just go and watch Netflix. Then I just asked her to go and watch Netflix. So that felt better.
So guys, this is a new definition of Netflix and chill. Right? The real definition of Netflix and chill is just not think about the shit you're in and move past it.
Yeah, I think if you wallow and you...
There's something about dwelling, right? It's like the more you dwell, the worse it gets.
Yes, because I think sometimes we think that if we expend more mental energy, it's going to fix itself. It will not fix itself. and even if you try to do more effort to fix something, sometimes it does not get fixed.
The hole gets deeper.
So I think you need to separate yourself. Of course, Netflix is not the only way, but you do need to find avenues where you can separate yourself. And it's almost like the lazy version of meditation. Because meditation, you have to actively let the thoughts go. And
I am okay.
This one is like kind of like distracting myself.
And
when it comes back, at least I feel like, okay, I've had some time to rest my mind and come back to it again. It has worked for me, may not work for everybody. I won't say that's the wisdom, but it is important. I think how we deal with problems, how we perceive them, can really shape our lives and how we get past any of these hardships, right? Like for example, your aircon spoil. What's the first thing that you do? Cry. Know what? Right? You'll think like, okay, I gotta go and get it fixed. Life sucks. But maybe you'll think, this aircon so ugly anyway, wanted to get a new one. But unlikely. I think aircon spoil is one of the worst, especially in this weather. But I would definitely think separating yourself, coming back later, has always worked out pretty well for me. You tend to make better decisions in the heat of the moment.
Take a pause and chill.
Have to. Very underrated.
Very underrated. Taking pauses in life is severely underrated.
Yes. I think taking a 2-month break to take care of my son was pretty good. I sat on the toilet, write LinkedIn posts. Suddenly have a new side hustle. No joke. True. So I think when you give yourself some space to develop ideas, which is why even when we read about high performance people, they tend to go to some random island, shut off all technology and write or something, deep work. I think the mind works in very mysterious ways.
Yes. So the madness is in the mind, and if you can control your mind, you might be in a better place than you were before, which is what we all plan to do. So thanks Eugene for sharing all your insights on how to hustle and whether or not you need a degree. That's ultimately up to you. But we hope that through this podcast, you've been able to, hopefully find some nuggets that will be useful for your own journey.
All right, thanks.
Right,
so I hope you all got something useful.
Till next time, this has been yet another episode of the Singaplex After Office Hours podcast. See you.
Cheers.